Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be looking at some of the cut content from Pokemon Legend Arceus, specifically the Pokemon from the original SINNOH Pokédex in Diamond and Pearl, and also from the Platinum Pokédex in Pokemon Platinum, why some of the Pokemon from those regional decks were actually cut from the Hisui region. Now, many of you probably didn't even notice this because all of these Pokemon are not SINNOH Pokemon. The original Generation 4 Pokemon are all represented, even ones like Rotom and Magnezone, which are Pokemon that shouldn't really exist in the time of Hisui. However, there were about 12 Pokemon families that were cut from the Hisui decks. These Pokemon families include Seeking, Medicham, Noctowl, Pelipper, Girafarig, Quagsire, Azumarill, Milotic, Altaria, Houndoom, Tropius, and Absol. So I imagine that, like me, some of you were disappointed because these are maybe one of your favorite Pokemon and you don't get to see them in this game. And like for me, I was really disappointed not to see Altaria because it's one of my favorite Pokemon and I wanted a shiny hunt, a shiny yellow Altaria. It's like a perfect game to do this in. But it's not represented. I'm going to be giving a reason for all of these Pokemon, why they were excluded, and I think that I've got a pretty good rationale both for like an in-game explanation and also for like an in-universe maybe reason why Hisui, like these Pokemon were not in Hisui at the time. So I think it'd be easiest to start with all the Platinum Pokemon that they cut. All the Pokemon that they cut except for Scizor, which we know is because they included Scyther, because Scyther evolves into Cleaver in this game. All the other Pokemon that were cut were Pokemon that had nothing to do with the SINNOH Pokédex. And by that I mean they didn't evolve from a Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 4 or evolve into a Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 4. And these Pokemon were Altaria, Houndoom, Tropius, and Absol. I think there could be other reasons why these Pokemon were cut. For instance, I think they could have cut Houndoom because they only initially included Houndoom because there were very few fire types in the original Diamond and Pearl decks. There were only two, which was Chimchar, starter Pokemon, and Ponyta. So I think that they only included Houndoom because they wanted to give more fire type options for people. And so naturally, when they now introduced other Pokemon that are of the fire type like Hisui and Growlithe, there really isn't as much of a need to include Houndoom into the decks. However, I think the best explanation is that all of these Pokemon just were included without really having anything to do with Generation 4, and so naturally the idea would be that they were not native to the Sinnoh region. Now, the other 8 Pokemon that were cut, it is a little bit trickier to explain. The reason for this is because those Pokemon were included in the Diamond and Pearl Pokédex originally, and a lot of the Pokemon that were in the original Diamond and Pearl decks were included in Hisui, even if they hadn't had any kind of connection to the Generation 4 Pokemon. For instance, Psyduck and Golduck, and like the Zubat line, Tentacruel and Tentacool, a lot of other Pokemon. However, they decided to exclude these Pokemon, and it's a lot less straightforward than, in my opinion, than what the Platinum Pokemon, the reasoning for why they were removed. Because when Platinum was first introduced, they introduced all the Pokemon that really should have just been in the Diamond and Pearl decks to begin with. Pokemon like Magmortar and Pokemon like Gallade, who were already new generation Pokemon. However, the Pokemon from the Platinum decks that were removed were all Pokemon that didn't have anything to do with that. What doesn't make sense is all of the Pokemon that were removed from the original Diamond and Pearl decks. The reason for why these Pokemon were excluded, to me, it seems kind of hard to even pinpoint. The reason why I think that these Pokemon were cut is because I think that with all the new Pokemon that were introduced, I think that they became sort of an abundance of certain types, and I think that they decided to exclude these Pokemon because they felt like there was too much overlapping with some of the other Pokemon that were new. This is my theory as to why some Pokemon like Goldeen and Girafarig were cut from the decks. And if you go down the list of Pokemon, you can actually find new Pokemon that were introduced into the Hisui region, even Pokemon like Ninetales and Paris that sort of conflict with some of the Pokemon that they decided to cut. So Pokemon like Seeking and Azumarill and Milotic were probably cut because there were already new water type Pokemon like Spheal and like obviously Samurott and like the new Basculegion form that were introduced into this new Pokemon game, and so they felt like they could reduce some of the other water types. And specifically with Pokemon like Golding and Seaking, I think there's probably an argument to be made that they decided to cut Golding and Seaking over a Pokemon like Whiscash because they felt like Whiscash maybe was a more iconic Pokemon to the Gen 4 games. I don't know. However, they did cut Pokemon that I really do associate with like Diamond and Pearl, like Medicham. You know, I remember, you know, Medicham was used in like 3 different main battles in those games, so it is a little interesting that they decided to cut a Pokemon like Medicham. Now, there is always a chance that these Pokemon are going to come back through like a DLC, right? I think that could be very likely, that they're just saving some of these Pokemon, but I do think that a lot of these other Pokemon, particularly the Platinum ones, were cut because they sort of wanted to exclude them for not having relevancy to this new Pokédex, I guess. Now, as for like an in-universe explanation to why these Pokemon were in Diamond and Pearl, like, I don't know, 100 years or whatever later than in Hisui, I would guess that it's probably just because these Pokemon were introduced by people who were beginning to migrate into the Hisui region. We already know that Professor Levinton like brought a bunch of Rowlet and Cyndaquil and Oshawott, right? Or at least 3. And I think as people begin to migrate into Jubilife Village, I think that it just makes sense that they would bring some of these Pokemon. I mean, we already saw that with Alolan Vulpix. So I think maybe they bring a bunch of different Pokemon, and only these ones are the ones that sort of became invasive, I guess. I also think what's interesting is that all of these Pokemon are Pokemon that are found in Hoenn or Johto. Now, obviously, the Sinnoh Pokédex was the 4th one, so they had to draw from only 2 or 3 generations before. But even Goldeen, who is a Kanto Pokemon, is found in Johto and in the Hoenn games. So I think that that's just an interesting, I don't know, theory maybe. And I think we can even kind of line up these Pokemon and see maybe how they kind of became more widespread in the Sinnoh region. Like, if you look at Golding and Seaking, I think you can make the argument that they were introduced because people, you know, already were huge hobbyists of Goldeen, as we know from the Pokédex. And so they probably brought their Goldeen over to the Hisui region. And then after Basculin and Basculegion kind of went extinct, for whatever reason, Goldeen began to proliferate in large numbers all across the region. And as for Pokemon like Meditite and Medicham, it's kind of interesting because those Pokemons encounter like areas, right, where they were a lot of the time they were found very commonly in the snowy region of Sinnoh and Mount Coronet. Well, in this game, that is kind of a replacement for a Pokemon like Sneasel and Sneasler, who are found in those same kind of areas. I think it's interesting because Medicham and Meditite are both psychic types, which is a 4 times effective against the new Sneasel type. So I think that it could be that, I don't know, some of these Pokemon are introduced and it maybe even directly competed with some of these Pokemon and then made them extinct. And as for like a Pokemon like Hoot Hoot or Noctowl, right, I think it makes sense that, you know, we see Murkrow and Drifloon kind of dominate in the Legends Arceus game. Like, they are all over the place at night. Where in the Sinnoh Dex, right, that spot is actually given to Hoot Hoot, where Hoot Hoot is all over the place in Diamond and Pearl and Platinum. So I think that there could be an argument that Hoot Hoot kind of became more dominant as Murkrow and Drifloon became rarer and rarer and rarer. I guess that's sort of my theory as to why a lot of these Pokemon were excluded from the Hisui Pokédex. Like I said, I think that there's maybe even a really good chance that these Pokemon end up returning, like for like a DLC, and I do think I want to make like a breakdown of the entire map and compare it from Hisui to the modern day Sinnoh and see where everything kind of lines up in each of the different wild areas. And I've been doing that, and what I found, without spoiling the video I'm going to work on, I do think that there are areas that are not represented in Hisui that are in the Sinnoh region. Like, there's regions that I can't really pinpoint. I can't say like, oh, this is this. And so I think that those areas are actually excluded, and maybe they're going to revisit them in a DLC potentially. I don't know. All right, if you guys like this video, please go ahead, leave a like, leave a subscription. It really helps out this channel, and let me know in the comments what you guys think about all of these cut Pokemon. Are you disappointed? You know, a lot of these were really unpopular Pokemon too, I think, like Goldeen, you know, Wingull and Pelipper, Girafarig. Those really aren't Pokemon that are too popular. All right, I'll talk to you guys all in my next video.